Any time I want to stop, whenever I feel as though it's not functioning, every time I feel as though it's not feasible, any time I feel as though I'm unable to go on any. The longer I continue, the more I understand this emotion. Already dealt with this. The Stoics were busy, accomplished individuals with day jobs. They were of assistance to families, regarding their nation and their causes. Thus, how did they finish everything? I understand the question that we're all asking. Question that people ask all the time, Ryan. How did you write those books? How have you spoken to the person you wrote to? How did the groups you participated in go? Successfully launch a bookshop on the side, and the solution for me, in addition to because the ancient Stoics were a group of fundamental behaviors of a sage philosopher. No one should be pitied, it was once remarked. Greater than the individual whose wing considering everything as a novel, unknown choice, the individual with the tendencies who has guidelines, best practices, and, look at that individual, is positioned to be prosperous. So, on the episode today, I wish to provide you with 8 fundamental things to do and practice for Stoic habits each and every day that will help you superior at whatever you do, regardless of who you are in any stage and wherever you reside. Period your life that you are in one. Get ready for the next few hours. What's so fascinating about? That's what Marcus meant by philosophy. The Meditations of Aurelius were among the few texts we have on philosophy. The majority of those weren't released as books. The world's most powerful guy wasn't writing what he believed he was writing, thought he had to find out for himself, and it is really a total coincidence that this, if his work survives, he would most likely be feeling ashamed that we're reading his journal or diary. However, because he's deceased, it is irrelevant. The idea is that its philosophy goes beyond simply, you've read about this once, and recognize that it's an active practice. You're doing something with yourself. I had a conversation with myself, a little bit about the missile situation. What fascinates me so much about the Kennedy's missile crisis is one of the missile's notes and doodles crisis. He would scribble on legal pads these things to himself in a way he would write missile as a reminder. He writes a consensus on missiles. Agreement that he was working while journaling revealed his thoughts as he was. Considering journaling isn't the only I know individuals that doodle, so here's how to do it. Sketch, or in the morning, but the idea is to sort of have a where are the creative practices? Extremely minimal stakes. And it's merely a Julia, you're getting your juices flowing. Cameron refers to morning pages as a kind of spiritual wipers for windshields, and I truly appreciate that Kennedy parallel. Truly enjoyed boating, therefore he created these illustrations of sailboats that you can picture the whole. The planet is going to explode if he doesn't exercise caution. He will assist in promoting the notion of simply leaving that zooming out. You can see that he's sort of relaxing. How significant and beneficial that would be, and that document, written by Frank, is more patient than others. Thus, you believe regarding the missile crisis's strains. It makes sense. He wants to dump out, which is why he is riding on. His frustration, his rage, and his dreads, the concepts he is developing where the stakes are low, so he can perform better in areas with high stakes, so journaling seems like a really crucial component of it. Take a stroll. I perform this one action each day and I'm a little sweaty, as you can tell. I just took a lengthy stroll with my "this is the property there, children," but we just took a lengthy stroll around our. We spoke, we flung sticks, and we told tales while we were simply outside of you. Recognize this wonderful look from according to Nietzsche. Only thoughts existed when walking is valuable, and I believe indeed, even Seneca discusses how the mind needs to be surrendered to. He says on his meandering stroll that the fields that are resting is prohibited, and plans won't be carried out. In fact, He continues, "You know the mind will shatter like an anvil if you don't rest. Thus, for me to walk, this is absolutely vital. Does it qualify as exercise or physical activity? But ultimately, it's about letting my thoughts run wild. Resting, I leave my phone at home. I leave my work at home and think at home. And I simply step outdoors, take a stroll, and don't even think of it as exercise. It's time I spend exercising my thoughts. I'm spending time with my family and property. I'm spending time outside. Time I dedicate to cultivating thankfulness, and thank you is something I do every day. Every day, regardless of whether it's on a gorgeous beach or on a parking lot. I go outside and go for a walk somewhere, and you should as well. 3. Make a commitment to being consistent. People ask me how I manage to write. You've written 10, 11 books in 10 years, bestsellers, and I explain to them that there isn't secret. I simply work every day. Yes, I do a small amount each day. I attempt to make some progress. This is a fundamental principle every single day. Of Stoicism, according to Zion, well-being is realized through incremental steps, but it's not, Mark Cornelius suggests, to build the little thing. Nobody can take your life action by action, prevent you from using the right we're focusing on. What we can control is whether you arrived. Did you make any progress today? Seneca says, "Look even," and progress quotation. Wisdom is acquired through insight stories. Experience speaks for itself, and books are also written in this manner. When writing, there's a fantastic rule. Only I basically attempt to get a few bad pages per day. Create stuff, after which I revise and enhance it. Later, but the most important thing is putting up the effort to obtain a little better each day. 4. Participate in your community. I'm not here to improve you. The purpose of Stoicism, psychopath, isn't to reduce your concern for other individuals, to give yourself more attention. It's not simply a productivity system to improve the fruit of this is what Marcus truly says. Life is morally upright and behaves in one of the 4 virtues of the common good. Justice and fairness are the goals of Stoicism. It's about serving and having honesty, something more significant than yourself. Therefore, if you believe Stoicism and divorce in some way, from politics separated from reality, accountable to the global community, if when Marx actually states that he implies that it's acceptable to have no opinion, never voice an opinion about nothing, pay attention to yourself, you're missing the a-Stoic point of this ideology is involved with the world in a Stoic manner. A Stoic makes a sincere effort to act morally. Item for both themselves and other people are not heartless. They are not an alt-right group. They are sociopaths. The goal of troll Stoicism is to accomplish good for more people, which is the idea behind is about, and if you're not understanding, you are not required to adhere to this material. 5. Go beyond your comfort zone. One thing endurance sports teach you is that there's always more to do. More than you believe your body is capable of urging you to stop, or your thoughts are urging you to stop, but in reality, your body can do more, so you must push past this in order to override it. Thus, in my opinion, endurance sports, and I've benefited from philosophy even as a writer because I can write whenever I want to, leaving whenever I feel it's not working, working whenever it's convenient for me, whenever I feel like it's impossible, can't possibly continue, so I understand this sensation because I've dealt with it. Prior to Epictetus discussing putting, he talks about every impression up till the test, regarding how a money changer is aware of what the sound of a counterfeit coin enjoy, and when you participate in endurance sports, you reach the location where you are familiar with what weakness feels and sounds like, and what it instructs you to do, as well as how you are not required to listen to that. Additionally, recognize when your body is truly injured, when you must actually stop when you truly reach the breaking point, when although you do reach that limit, since of your work, you are aware that the majority of such restrictions, that the majority of individuals who wish to, the phrases quit, stop, and slow down, are false. You push through it, you push past it, and this leads you to your desired destination. On the opposite side of that is all growth. Opposition, whether through writing or whether it's a romantic relationship or if you're working in a creative endeavor, whether it's a business or not. On the opposite side of that is growth. Resistance, hence possessing endurance. Participate in sports and do something you're attempting to become proficient in, either CrossFit or lifting weights, or going for a run, or doing rock climbing where those are continuously being tested. Objections as well as the entire procedure is figuring out when to persevere, and I can't push through when I can't. I'm confident that I definitely suggest it. Stepping outside and engaging in those activities may not appear to be what the Stoics were carrying out the actions of philosophers. However, that's exactly what they were doing. As you are aware, Marcus Aurelius rode a horse to hunt. He wrestled triceps and clients with horses. Who were the boxers, and how far away? The Stoics were athletes, runners, and this technique is crucial to reaching the conceptual juncture of tenacity and strength. 6. Treasure the people you care about. On Friday, I noticed that my friend had sent me an email. I promised myself that I will reply on Monday, and he had left by Sunday. Died from a heart attack, and this is the reason Stoics believe that life has momentum is, in summary, you can leave at any time, but also, they stated that the individuals who are valuable to you can't because you don't have them. Don't assume you can take them for granted. They will always be here for you. You cannot presume that you will always have. They are now gone from your possession. They are here on loan under unstable situation. Thus, you can't take. Taking people for granted is not something you can do. You can't sleep with anger because they state you can't harbor resentment toward when you have the opportunity to pardon them, while you can enjoy them at this time. Take use of them while you can. We can only do that as a memento. You may end your life now, Maury, as Marcus, yet they can also depart from life. Let that dictate your actions for the time being. And think and say, especially with those who are most important to you. 7. Go ahead and read. Go ahead and read. Go ahead and read. A few guidelines for reading. 1. Stop shopping. The speed reading for time 2 is a trap. It's not real, it's phony. You just must read 3 things for a long time. Believe that older literature are nearly always. There's a reason why better classics are classic. The Great Rule is one of the 4 very awful books. You are 5 years old, less than 100 pages. If you're not taking notes, you must notes. If you're only attempting to obtain reading the text as quickly as you can. 6. You're doing it incorrectly. I'm trying to locate. In each book I read, there was one read the following 7, and consider how I'm feeling. Going to apply this knowledge in the purpose of books in real life is not to appear more intelligent in order to improve. 8. If it's good, pass it and suggest it. In addition to others, those are my Ryans. Holiday Reading Guidelines. 8. Say this again. 2 words that we hear come from the ancients, something I believe we ought to. We should remind ourselves to repeat in any circumstance we find ourselves in. You strike it rich when you win the lotto. You receive recognition and a reward. Memento mori, remember, you say to yourself. You will pass away after going through difficulties. Someone betrays you or cheats on you. Someone steals from you or someone lies to you. From you, someone receives what you have earned. Earns a promotion ahead of you, you say yourself a keepsake, And keep in mind that I will pass away, Marcus. You could end your life now." "Let that determine what," said Aurelius. "You act, speak, and think. The two of you argue with your girlfriend or your partner. Your folks say something hurtful or allow you down. You're annoyed with your neighbor. You break your leg. You fall out after blowing up your knee. In love with someone, work and your children are causing you stress. Are you sick? You ask yourself. Life is brief, and I will eventually die. That implies that you are unable to take any of really. You can't let this bother you. You are unable to hold on to it, allow it to boost your confidence. Or, if you're wealthy, you're well known. You have millions of followers on Instagram. You recently got employed and entered Harvard. You recently received a Nobel Prize nomination. The president called you just now. You simply must accept your recent promotion. Res memory mori, you can't take it with you when you die. Any of this with you, it is insignificant in contrast to the concept of eternity. How many others have preceded you and possessed these same accolades, and where are they now? Like you, they are now, and dead, will be what Marcus actually stated. Custom of reciting memento mori to both the positive and negative aspects of it serves as a reminder that we will die that is beneficial to you. Accept the positives without being conceited, and to accept the negative aspects of disregard for the delay in your plane. You're worn out, anxious, and hungry. You're annoyed. You're cynical. Memento mori, you remark, I'm going to die. What does this all imply? And why am I taking any of it so seriously, allowing it to affect me? Is it 3 hours here or 3 hours elsewhere? Remember that you're going to die. You are in charge. Is if it's worth your time to become angry, whether you waste time taking it or not, whether you're the greatest in the world at what you do, maybe you're an intern without pay. If your work is appreciated by the critics or brutalized by them, if you have more chances than you are aware of what to do with. If you are unable to get the one shot, one will even offer you a chance, regardless of you own all the funds you require, or you can hardly make ends meet. You mention memento mori, but keep in mind that I'll die. Given that, none of this matters. Regardless of whether you're playing with a gorgeous supermodel, regardless if putting your child to sleep, whatever of you're in your jammies, sitting there, consuming cereal, or standing in memento in front of a distinguished audience mori, are you okay with dying this way? Are you wasting your time on this? Do you embrace it, or are you living it? Or are you allowing it to slip out of your, take this souvenir, and never forget that I will die? You may end your life now, and let that decide what you say, do, and think. Whatever you're going through, it's amazing. No matter how annoying your life is, memento mori, keep in mind that you will. You must not die, because this too shall pass. Ignore it. According to Epictetus, philosophy wasn't. This arid, abstract object was something. He stated that you ought to discuss noting down what I've read about exploring with other individuals. You mentioned having it constantly at hand, which is how I consider philosophy, and the last one is strange. For the past 5 years, every day I've been creating this free email regarding Stoicism philosophies. Meeting everyone has been more than simply cool, these fellow practitioners of still philosophy, but in writing, discussing it and reading it for I must internalize these podcasts. Thoughts that I never would have able to function under any other conditions, which is the concept of philosophy is something that you should do, in not preserving these ancient dusty books or read it once and stop there. It's an ongoing procedure, and I believe that's why the email has been incredibly effective for the individuals who are sharing and reading about it and discussing all of it as well. I therefore hope you will join us on this. You can register for an email account at dailystoic.com. everyday email that is completely free and spam-free. You are free to unsubscribe whenever you choose. In essence, I've given away a book for free for 5 years, each year, and I will continue to do so until I highly recommend checking out dailystoic.com. Daily electronic mail.